Episode number 17 of British Strength Radio with the first man to deadlift 1,000 pounds, Mr. Andy Bolton. If you would like to support the generation of future episodes of this podcast, head over to BritishStrengthMagazine.com and subscribe to British Strength Magazine. We have the brightest minds in the UK strength sports industry writing for the magazine, and we have interviews with the UK's best strength athletes. In fact, we interviewed Andy Bolton for issue number 5, and if you subscribe to the magazine, all you have to do is then email info@BritishStrengthMagazine.com, and you can actually receive all the back issues completely for free, so you'll be able to read that interview. So without further ado, Andy Bolton, hello, how's it going?
Thank you very much, all good, all good.
So how are you at the minute, mate?
I'm okay today. No, to be honest, right now, since the transplant in April, it's been up and down. But as of 8 months now, yesterday, post-transplant, and things are starting to pick up again. I'm feeling good, health-wise good, all my levels are good. Started some sort of training again, so things are looking good.
Nice. So I thought I would, we're going to get onto the transplant stuff a little bit later,
Yep.
but I thought I would start with really the beginning of your career, because I think a lot of people know about the big stuff, a lot of people know about what's happening now, because obviously social media documents that, but I think like there's almost like a bit of a hidden area within your career whereby that people don't know about, like the early days of how you became the 1,000-pound deadlifter, not necessarily while you were at the top, but how did it start? From what I understand, it was bodybuilding first, right?
Yeah, I started, and back then it was different to today. I mean, my dad wouldn't let me join a gym till 18 years old.
Right.
I started a little rundown gym, gym called Powerhouse, rain coming in, you know, proper spit and sawdust type of gym. Went in there, had no idea what we're doing, got shown around, did some deadlifts. I didn't know what a deadlift was, to be honest. And I got hold of a guy called Tony. He was my first training partner after 1 week of being there. And he used to do a lot of power cleans, deadlifts, things like that, squats. So I joined in with him. We did some deadlifts. First time I deadlifted, pulled 260. Yeah, first.
And how old were you? 18?
18 years old.
Jesus
I
Christ.
didn't even know what a deadlift was. It wasn't a great form. It was all back. I was very strong in my back and legs, so I'd done a lot of rugby league training for the previous 5 years. So squatting, I think I did 200 kilo for 22 reps, 22, 23 reps.
My God. Was that to like powerlifting depth as well?
No, I didn't know what powerlifting was back then.
Just a squat.
Just a squat that I was just training. Yeah, I had no idea what depth was and technique. I was just a strong kid who played rugby. Yeah, I did leg press, piled all the weight on. Just did loads. You know, Jim Owen would come up to me and say, "Be careful on there. You've got a lot of weight on there." I said, I don't know what it is, mate. I'm just training. I'm just a young kid. Just if it feels light, I put more weight on. So that's how it started. But bench press, that's another thing. My maximum bench press at 18 years old was 60 kilos. So 260 deadlift, 220 squat for reps, and a 60 kilo bench press.
So you had a big discrepancy in between your upper and lower body strength.
It was massive. So that's how I started, really. All about bodybuilding back then. I never heard of powerlifting, so I trained for bodybuilding. After 2 years of doing that, getting stronger, started some sort of diet. I did my first bodybuilding competition, which was a British qualifier. I stripped from 18 and a half, 19 stone, right down to 14 stone in 10 weeks.
Right.
Constantly starving. That's all I remember of the diet. We've been starving all the time.
I remember that too.
Yeah,
fucking hell.
not a nice feeling. Got on stage, it was the best buzz I've ever felt on stage. Unbelievable. But you know, I just got 3rd place in a British qualifier. Didn't qualify for British. So then we went back to the gym. But all the times of training for this, I'd be doing my cardio in the gym on the bike, and a group of powerlifters were training in there. We know now Brian Reynolds, Dave Carter, all the Leeds team before me. They were all training powerlifting, and every night they'd come back past me out of the gym after doing the powerlifting workouts and see me on the bike for an hour. I said, "Andy, you need to come and train with us. When you've done this bodybuilding, you're killing yourself doing this." And I didn't know what powerlifting was. I just seen them training in the gym.
Yeah.
So as soon as the diet were done and the competition were over, and I binged out and everything. I put about 4 stone back on in about 2 weeks.
I remember that too.
Yeah. I was training with a guy called Trevor, and he were all bodybuilding, and they said to me, "Come and join us." They trained at a different place, purely powerlifting. I said to my training partner, "Are we going to go powerlift with these?" He went, "No." I said, "Well, I'm going." So I left him, and I moved with this new group.
Was this at Raoul's gym?
No, Raoul's comes a long time later on.
What year was this?
1990, I competed in my powerlift in my first bodybuilding show.
Right.
Started training in 88. 1990, I was 20. Competed in bodybuilding, and then I moved straight to them.
Yeah.
So they got me powerlifting, and we didn't train in the same gym for powerlifting. It was like a sports centre, Harmony Sports Centre. We had a powerlifting section.
Okay.
It was all baller powerlifting, weightlifting,
Yeah.
equipment all locked up in a box. So they all went there once or twice a week, just do the purely powerlifting lifts, no assistance, just squat, bench and deadlift. So we went up there, terrible technique. There were like seven black guys and me. So I got abused. They give me some stick.
Right.
Their view was, they give you everything they can, all the abuse, and if you stay, you're part of the team.
Yeah.
But I was this young kid coming in, I didn't know what we were doing. Brian Reynolds was European champion by this time, went to World Games, and Dave Carter were multiple champions, and Sam Watt was champion, and they're all champions. I was just a new kid on the block. So I started lifting, competed, did my first competition about 3 or 4 months later, Yorkshire North East, totaled 770, remember squatting 270, benching 150 I think it was, and pulled 335 first competition deadlift.
Christ. And this is because when I looked back at your records and stuff, this was all pretty much was it like GBPF or was it baller?
Baller back then.
Baller.
It was baller back then, yeah.
And was it equipped? It was equipped. It must
No,
have been.
it was
all raw.
It was raw then. When I first started, it was raw. Equipment come on next few years. It started to come in next few years. So we did that show in the January, and then we went on 3 months later to the Yorkshire North East Seniors, and then I squatted 290, so I put 20 kilos on. My bench was around about the same. Struggled to get that up. Deadlift 340 or 342. It kept on going up, and then I just kept on competing with them for the next few years. Went to World Championships in Stone, WPC World Championships in '92. Won juniors. Come second to Scott Warman in the Open. He was a monster lifter. He was squatting well over 400 kilos.
Christ.
It was a big wake up call that for me. Because I went against him thinking I could beat him. That was this invincible young kid, couldn't be beat by anybody. And then he schooled me. He really did. Squatting 430s, benching, but I could out deadlift him. I outpulled him. I think I pulled through 90. Then went to WPC Worlds in France in '93, where I won the juniors, and I competed in the Open as well, even though only a junior. And I won the Open title. Squatted 400 first time there.
Nice.
Bench 220 and pulled 382.
So are we saying equipment?
Equipment had just come in now. It had just come in. This was the first year.
Right.
So first couple of years were raw, and then bench shirts were starting to come in.
Right.
Deadlift suits, but back then the deadlift suits, what you call a deadlift suit and a squat suit, wasn't like it is today. It was a single ply thing. It wasn't crazy. There was no crazy thickness on it.
Right, and it wasn't even like the single ply suits are today. Like single plies, apparently, from what I hear, better than it used to be now than it was then.
Oh, massively, yeah. I could put these suits on myself.
You're right.
And you just got somebody to just put your shoulder straps on. That's all it was. Nothing crazy back then. But we didn't know any different back then, because that's the way powerlifting were going.
Right.
It started off raw, then equipment started coming in, so everybody moved with the equipment. Everybody were doing it. There were no raw shows. It were all equipped shows. That's what we did. Won World Championships in 1993, Open, beating Kieran Kidder. Total 1,002. So I broke 1,000 pound, 1,000 kilo total as a junior. Yeah. And then I got a call from the World's Strongest Man people, Dave Webster, Doug Edmonds, saying, "Do you want to do strongman?" I said, yeah, because it was a dream. Obviously watching Bill Kazmaier and Jeff Capes on TV when you were younger. And back then, I'd dominated that powerlifting for 3 years, and I was so young, and there was nobody else there to beat. I'd beaten everybody, so I wanted another challenge. So I went up to Scotland, started doing Highland Games type things, strongman up there.
Pal, can we just get the mic a little bit closer?
Yeah.
I'm just wary of that it's not.
Okay.
There we go. So you went up to the Highland Games type stuff?
Yeah, I didn't do the Highland Games. It were Highland Games and strongman combined. So we went up there, competed. With the first strongman show I did, there were like Magnus Magnuson, Manfred Herbal, Gary Taylor, all the names, all the big names. And I think there were 4 or 5 of us, all beginners. We had to do 2 events before we could qualify for the main show.
Okay.
If whoever finished top 2 or top 3 in the qualifying carried on and did another further 4 or 5 events with the top guys, and actually won the qualifying. They did all 5 stones in 18 seconds.
Nice.
Hercules hold, I think he held it for like 56, only beaten by Stuart Murray, who had the world record at the time. And I just found it easy. Went on to do that. Placed well. I mean, I think it's top half, first show I ever did. Did a few more shows. Then I got invited to the World Muscle Power, which back then were like a warm-up for the World's Strongest Man. So we had Manfred Herbal, Gary Taylor, Heinz Olash, a young guy called Anton Boucher, went at Worlds. All these great names were all training for World's Strongest Man 8 weeks later, and I got a last-minute call-up. And I placed 8th, I think, out of 12. And I did all right.
That's pretty good to see.
Yeah.
You'd only just come from powerlifting.
Yeah, I'd only come from powerlifting. I had no event training. But back then, there were no way you could go for event training like there is now.
Right.
We just went on field, threw things over bars for weight for height, a 15-kilo plate. I just trained as strong as I could in the gym, did a lot of overhead pressing. Just very basic, to be honest. More like a powerlifter with a bit of fitness added on.
Yeah.
So we did that, 93, and I kept on doing strongman then up until 99. I was never loving it, if I'm honest. I went back to Scotland a few times, did a few more shows. Never really won anything because I didn't enjoy the training.
Right. Yeah.
I was all about all-out power, 1 rep,
Yeah.
2 reps, 3 reps. I went into this, pulling a truck for 30 metres. I remember one show I pulled a truck and I stood up halfway through. You know what you're doing, Andy? I said, I'm bored. I was bored. I said, I'm bored. Just pulling it isn't my thing. And then you have a rest and you're warming up on a field and I was cold. And they said, you're starting this time and you wasn't. You were waiting for half an hour to start. If any cameras were, if we were filming it.
Yeah.
It was all done for like a production. Like World's Strongest Man's got like that now. It's more of a TV show.
Yeah.
But back then it was all the beginning of it all. I know it did get better as when I finished in 99. It did start to go on TV from then because I qualified in 99 at Docklands and me and Bill Pittett were the top 2 by about 20 points. Glenn Ross was 20 points behind. And I tore my bicep on the last event. But I had Jamie Reeves helping me back then because I'd been training with Jamie previously a few weekends down in Sheffield. So we'd got to, if we won there, top 3 there, went to Alton Towers the next year, which was the first show televised,
Right.
I believe. And Jamie said to me the last event, don't race Bill at this. He's a drayman for a living. He lifts barrels for a living. You're qualified. You're clear, Glenn Ross. You're 20 points ahead. And me being me, thought I could beat Bill and raced him. And when I got to barrel loading, my bicep snapped on the first one. I could feel it pull straight off. Yeah. I looked at my arm and it was going black straight away. It was instantly. I said to my brother at the side of me, I tore my bicep. He goes, no, you can do it. Carry on. I said, I've torn my bicep. Went back for the next one. Couldn't even lift it off floor. It was gone. And then ambulance comes over, cuts your wrap off and it's all bleeding. Back at ambulance and I was gone to hospital. But Jamie said don't race him. But maybe me raced him. Because then obviously it was Alton Towers then.
Yep.
And it was going to be first televised show, but I wasn't enjoying it. It wasn't really me. But looking back now, it's a blessing that happened because that cut my strongman career dead. And then a guy called Brian Bacheldor were watching back then. And he approached me and said, Andy, I want you to come back to powerlifting. So my bicep had gone. Before I'm getting rushed away, Brian's chatting to me. You're too good in powerlifting. You're strong. You don't want to be doing this. You're going to get hurt. When I did get hurt. So I said, okay, then let's talk. Then once I'd sorted out, got back home, we talked. And this was 99. He said, I'll give you an invite to Canada in 99 for powerlifting, World Powerlifting Championships, WPC. I said, I won't be ready because this bicep won't fix properly. I never got it sewn back on. I just left it off. I think I was deadlifting 300 kilos within 6 weeks. I just switched my arms around from under grip to over grip on the arm.
And it was fine.
It was fine. It never
you.
bothered me in powerlifting in any way. It just strongman. It would.
Yeah.
But I would never plan on doing strongman again, to be honest. So Brian said, "Well, if 99, if you don't want to do that one, let's work on next year." He said he was going to help me with everything. I mean, my training were covered more or less. I had a good team behind me with Dave, Brian, all the guys. Brian gave me information, little things what to do that they weren't doing. Everything evolved about powerlifting. Brian, you know, with everything, supplements and everything else. He was the guy who helped me stay straight, get strong with no side effects and stuff like that.
I've heard quite a lot about Brian Batchelor, and his I guess would you say one of his associates, what's the guy called, also worked around like CMP, and what was it that came before, or Dorian Yates approved as it was then?
Yeah.
What was it that came before before Dorian Yates approved? Something crazy like chemical warfare.
Oh, chemical warfare with Paul Borison.
Yeah, Paul Borison. That's who I'm thinking of.
So I come a lot later than that.
Right.
I come later. I didn't know Paul Borison. I didn't know chemical. I've heard of it, but when I started, it was chemical. It was CMP.
Yeah, and you were sponsored by them.
Sponsored by them for 12 years. Yeah. And that's when Dorian were there.
Right.
So I went to powerlifting then, and then in 2000 I started powerlifting, getting rid after my torn bicep, and ended up going to World Championships in 2000, and I ended up squatting 440, I think I squatted. 440, bench 245, and I pulled 407.
Nice.
And I beat Herit Badenhurst world record, which I always looked up to. He would have won a great South African powerlifters, strongmen. I think he come second to Magnus Verint, world's strongest man, more than once.
Wow. And
just couldn't beat Magnus. But he was one of the strongest guys out there. He was 450 squatter, 250 bencher, massive deadlifter. And to beat his record, you know, it was a big achievement for me. That, and that was almost the turning point for me from then. Because then from 2000, the WPO started in 2002.
Right, okay.
And it went from there. I mean, my first one was 2003.
Do you feel like powerlifting got a lot bigger then?
It did then, because that's the way it was going. The WPO back then, it was the next step from where it was the WPC Worlds to the pros.
Yeah. And
all the best lifters in the world were going. We're all on the same, you know, on the same level. It wasn't like a divide, because Raw wasn't even talked about. That's what it was. That's the way. If you didn't go that way, you had nowhere to go. So that's where we went. I remember going. I won a World Championship in 2001 in South Africa, where I pulled 418, thinking I'd broken Gary Heiss's world record deadlift. Later found out it was 419.
Oh my
God! So a kilo away. So then I went on the next year to the British Championships in 2002, 3, can't remember the year. But I pulled 420 at the British Championships and took the record. Yeah. Finally, that's the first time I broke it. And then, what happened then? So what year we're now? 2002. Yeah, so because I won the World Championships the year before in South Africa, the WPO organisers said I'd qualified by right to the 2003 finals. But all the other lifters were complaining that I hadn't qualified by doing one of the WPO qualifiers. I'd done a World Championships, which wasn't the same. Yeah. So at 6 weeks' notice, I got a call saying you had to qualify in New Orleans in 2002. So I called Dave Beattie, because he went away with me everywhere. Me and Dave Beattie become friends a few years before this. I says, Dave, we've got to go to New Orleans. He says, when? I said 6 weeks to qualify for the WPO finals in the Arnold Classic in 2003. He says, okay, then let's do it. Went over there, not a lot of training. I hadn't been really training hard for anything. I ended up, what did I squat? I went there to qualify, just to qualify. Squatted 410, bench 267, 270. And in deadlift, I opened up on deadlift, I think 340. Felt easy. I hadn't really been training for anything on deadlift. Then we went 380. And I said to Dave, this feels really easy, Dave. This feels really good. I said, what's world record again? I think it was my world record. Yeah, for my 420 world record that I'd just done at the British the same year earlier. So let's put 422 on. I pulled it comfortable, raw as well, with no deadlift suit. I didn't use a deadlift suit in them early years. People, you know what I mean? I didn't use one until later on, deadlift suit.
Yeah, but obviously if you look at all the tables, the things get counted as equipped.
Yeah, of course they do. Yeah, exactly.
So people don't realise that by looking back at just the tables. Yeah. But if they saw the lift,
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't
Yeah,
realise it was just a singlet.
So I pulled 421 in New Orleans, and I was looking over at Gary Franks because back then he was the top man. He was the man to beat. And I'm looking at him and smiling at him. Then Gary goes 422.5, and he pulls it and looks back at me. And there's a picture in one of the magazines, me and him staring head to head. I'm looking at him, he's looking at me. I said, "Who's the man now, Gary?" And then he lifts it. He goes, "Who's the man now, Bolton?" And first time I'd get my ass kicked on deadlift. He actually beat me in 2002 in New Orleans.
I bet that was one.
Like, it was hard, but it just made me go home to train harder. But then we were going to meet again in 2003 finals in March, and we did. And I ended up pulling 423. I got told I squatted 455, first £1,000 squat. I benched 270 something. Can't remember what it wasn't great, my bench. And we'd done as warm ups on deadlift, as opening lift, second lift. And we went over to the table and we said, "What does Andy need to win?" They said he needs 423 kilos and he'll win by half a kilo. I said, "Okay, I'll put it on then." I pulled it. I won the show. Then they come back to me, the organisers, said, "Hang on a minute, no, rules have changed. We sent you a letter, an email." I said, "He sent me no email. We asked you what I needed. You just told me, and now you're saying it's changed. You can't win by half a kilo. You've got to win by 2.5 kilos." But the previous year, Anna Tatainen beat somebody else by half a kilo, and he won it. But this year they suddenly changed it. So now me and Steve Goggins are both equal on 1150. But Steve's lighter body weight, so I took my 0.5 off and give it to Steve. And that Steve deserved it because that was the year he squatted 500 kilos for the first time. Yeah. So I mean, but really, I got stuffed there. You know, I should have won that game. I should have won that.
If you would have known what.
If I'd have known to pull 425, I'd have pulled 425. Yeah. But they told me 423, and then they took it away from me. So that was quite hard to take. And then I went on from there, WPO, 455 squat, getting stronger. I remember squatting 470 in England to one of the British Championships. And then we went to Atlanta for another WPO qualifier. I ended up squatting 487 on my second and feeling easy. So today, beat this feels good. He goes, "What's the world record again?" He goes, "Like Steve Goggins 500. I said, "Let's put 505 on." And I squatted 505 and it was comfortable. That was the biggest squat of all time. But then I bombed on bench. I lost it. Yeah, I lost it. I lost the record. And that's the first time my wife, who is now, went over this before I got married. She drove all the way from Florida to watch me lift for the first time. We just met. And I bombed on my first show ever. And Dave wouldn't come near me. She wouldn't come near me. I say it's all right, you know what I mean? Get over it. And I come back from then and squatted 520. Then that year in 2007, it's going to come to a peak for me. I don't know what happened that day, but my best squat was 520. That year, 2007 finals, I opened up at 490. Felt easy. And I went 527 on a second, which were a PB. Then I said, "What's all-time record?" Dave, he goes 550. Jeff Lewis had done it year before and beaten me. I said, "Put 550.5 on." And the guy at the desk goes, "What?" He said, 550. "Who's that for?" I said, "Andy, are you sure?" He goes, "Yeah, you can do it." And back then I had no fear. No fear of weights, no fear of getting broken. You know, if it had crushed me, I'd have got fixed and come back again. There was no fear back then. And I squatted 550.5 and it was the hardest fought squat in my life. And I've never ever felt, when you've taken a squat off, this is heavy. In my head, that's the first time I've taken it off and I thought, shit, to myself, this is heavy. But I thought, right, you've just got to commit to this now. You can't go in at 550 half-hearted. You've got to give it everything. And I went down. And even a lot of lifters are giving me compliments on that squat because I went as down as far as I could possibly go. It wasn't a mega high squat. It was parallel.
It's a famous video, isn't it? You know what I mean? I remember, you know, your usual music's playing in the background, isn't it? It's a big. Is that the? Did you say it was a WPO?
WPO finals, 2007 finals.
Big show, wasn't it? They had the announcer there, and and you know what, mate? I thought, as deep as any equipped squat you see, that was. Do you know what I mean?
Back then it was good.
Your nose is bleeding on the way up.
Yeah, it is.
I remember
and
the video
rock forward on one leg, and you see the judge in the middle. It's Gordon Santini, I think it was. It was stood up, waiting for me to stand up straight so he could rack the bar quick because I was falling onto one leg. I was falling, but I stood up and actually managed to push myself back and stand at the top, and then he gave me a quick thing, and then that was it. At that point, I had the biggest squat of all time, the biggest deadlift of all time, the biggest powerlifting total of all time. I had everything. Yeah, like that's the peak of my career.
Why do you think that like people don't give you as much? Like, why do you think you don't get as much notoriety for that lift as you do the 1,000-pound deadlift?
I think since then, I mean, back then I did seem to do, because it equipped was the thing.
Yeah.
Now it's gone to raw. Now lifters are squatting up to 500 kilo raw.
Yeah.
Even Vlad, who I compete against equipped, is doing 520 raw.
Yeah.
So they've moved on another level. And I think with the kids today, the new ones in the sport, with social media, they only think that's what exists now, what they're seeing now. They don't know what's happened before. They don't know who I am, a lot of people, the young kids today. They honestly don't know. I don't think it's, if they knew, and like the older lifters who saw me back then, appreciate what I did.
Yes.
I didn't, but then what I've missed is the year before the 2007 finals, I actually brought the 1,000-pound deadlift in 2006, the year before. So I was on fire them few years.
Yeah.
I'd come from pulling 427 to Benedict coming around, smashing my record and pulling 440 from nowhere when I was only the man deadlifting big over that weight. There was nobody else pushing me. So I was just creeping it up, and Dave Beattie said, you need to just let it go, Andy, and push it. But I said, Dave, I get 1,000 pounds every time I break a record, and there's nobody else to push me. So what's the point of just pushing up to where? There's nobody else was doing that. It were ground nobody had been.
Yeah.
So there was no incentive for me to get to 1,000 back then. It wasn't a big deal. And then when Benny comes and pulls 440 against me, I thought, shit, this ain't right. But then, but what people don't know when he pulled 440, I'd squatted 520 that day and benched 310. Benny did 60 kilo squat, 60 kilo bench. He saved himself for that deadlift. He primed himself right there to beat me on that deadlift that day. And I tried 441 after he'd done the 440, and I got it just to mid shin. And then he tried 1,000 pounds that day. The first time we ever tried it. And he got it, didn't get it moving, moved barely an inch. So I thought, okay. So now, my head now on the 1,000-pound deadlift now. I'd seen him try it. He just kicked me ass. So this was in the November of 2005. So 2006, we'd gone to the Arnold in the March, and I'd squatted over 500 again. I benched over 300, and I pulled 441. So I took the record back from Benny in a free lift meet, and I held it at the top and I smiled because I knew I'd beaten him.
So when you said that you're getting 1,000 pounds every time you break the record, who was giving you this?
That was WPO.
WPO,
yeah,
right.
Yeah. Every time you broke a record in their qualifiers, you got £1,000.
That's amazing. That would
So
never happen these days.
I was chipping it up. I'm getting all this money, and with their shows back then, I was getting between £4,000 and £6,000 every time I lifted because I was top three. Back then, there were money. That's why we all went there. That's why you got the big lifters. You see, so after ticking at 441 and beating Benny again in November, in the March, in the Arnold Classic Finals in 2005, in 2006, later that year, in November, I trained for the 1,000 in Lake George, and that's when I pulled the first 1,000 in 2006.
So we've heard like quite a lot from your social media because I watch your videos and stuff.
Yeah.
And I've watched your training video as well, the DVD.
Yeah.
You're like a big proponent of not like maxing out in the gym.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, it was like multiple sets of quite a lightweight but done quite quickly.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of speed work involved.
Yeah.
I'm taking it that was what was going up to the comp. But were there ever kind of periods where it was like volume training where you would kind of like push, where you were pushing the sets up to like nearer to failure kind of thing?
Never went to failure. Never went close to failure.
But like not even close. Was it always speed type stuff?
No. But see, people when I preach speed all the time, but it's not just about speed. It's heavy work combined with speed. You're not going to get mega strong just on speed work alone.
Right.
Now people think when I say speed, that's all I used to do.
Right.
But the lads who train with me can see what's going on. But back then there were not social media, so nobody knew what we're doing. Yeah. And I'm saying pull the bar faster. They're thinking, oh, faster. It's all about speed. No, it's not all about speed. And I released a video a few weeks ago about this. In the build up to these lifts, to all these big 400 plus lifts, deadlifts, what they didn't see is all off season, I'd always deadlift from a 2-inch board. The weights would be sitting on a 2-inch board now. That was my dead spot, where you low mid shin, a little bit lower, when you can't use much leg drive, but it's a lot of back, a lot of hamstring. I'd work really heavy on that. And I'd been up to 400 for 3 reps, with no straps. But I'd always do that at least 8 weeks away from a competition, 8 to 10 weeks away. And then all the time I would win low boards, I'd always do floor straight after.
Yeah.
For me, 3 sets of 3. It was just a matter of keeping the floor work going. It wasn't crazy heavy, even 180, 200, 220. It was just to keep the movement going.
Yes.
So I didn't forget the pattern of the full range. Because you're doing boards all the time, and suddenly you got a full range, like, it feels like a million miles now.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason I did that.
So you're working your weaknesses hard,
Yeah.
but maintaining your strengths.
Yeah, and then at 8-10 weeks out, the boards go, because I've just peaked on the boards. Now I know in my body I can hold 400 for 3 reps in my grips, and my grip's strong. I mean, power, I'm not going to a max, so I've got a little bit left. So the boards will come out, then 8-10 weeks out, we'll start on the floor, and we'll start building that up now. So now, because I've been at 400 just before this, now I don't have to go up that high again. Your body remembers this. It doesn't just strength doesn't go overnight. It takes months for it to go away. So I'd work up again to 350. I always have a number 350. I think it works out at 74% of my max.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd pull a fast double or triple with 350, and I could have pulled 8 with it. That's how quick I'm moving the bar as quick as I can. This is when I talk about speed. The force I'm generating in 350, I'm trying to do the same force as what's needed to pull 1,000 pound. So every week I'm pulling, I'm thinking about 1,000 pound deadlift, the force. I'm not pulling 220 like it's 220. It's like it's 1,000 pound. And every week I do the same, chase that speed, chase that speed. Lads would tell me in gym, honestly, is it fast enough, is it not fast enough? But back in these years, I was on fire back then, and I was pulling so quick. And 350 was so fast. And I just knew I was going to do it because I'd trained heavy, my legs were strong as well. I had 500 plus squats. My back was so strong, my technique was good. I was very quick off the floor. I knew how to get my arms long and get the tension out of the bar. Activate my hamstrings with that 3 little dips I used to do. I'd feeling a hamstring tightness, going down, feeling it again. Just in that point, that biting point, like on a car, the clutch on a car. Just that point where you just know you're ready to fire.
Yeah.
And all that had come in, and then I just went for it and I pulled it. It went up. And the weakness on that day was my grip. Because when I got to the top of that 1,003, one of my hands, left or right, which one it was, I think it was left, started to unravel. Because I'd never struggled with grip till this point. Even at 441, I held it at top for like 5-10 seconds. But I'd never felt anything like 1,000 pounds in my hands before.
What was it? It was at a British comp, wasn't it? Was it?
No, 1,000 pound in Lake George, WPO qualifier.
Yeah, sorry, mate.
Again, in 2006. That was the qualifier for the Arnold Classic that I won. I squatted 550 out the previous year.
But you had done 1,000 pound deadlift, another 1,000 pound deadlift.
I did it later on.
Yeah.
I did 1,003, that was the first time. Then I went on to do 1,008.
Yes.
In 2009, I think it was, 3 years later.
Yeah, and that was the one that was at a British comp, right?
Yeah, that was in the British qualifier, yeah.
I think it holds more weight to it in that you did the first one out there at the big show.
Yeah, and did it again.
I mean, we've talked about this before on the podcast with other guests. Like, personally, I believe that if you're going to break big records, do them at big shows, I think, you know?
You know, it's today, I see so many lifters today breaking all these world records in a local meet with no pressure. And to me, it isn't the same. Every one of my big totals were done in America, travelling abroad against American lifters who lived over there, who didn't have to travel half the way I did with jet lag. And we always beat them and come home. We come home back to England, a bit like Dorian Yates used to do. Go over there, come back. There were no social media. Nobody knew what we're doing. Now we're training. And they'd only see me at competitions twice a year. They always performed. Now, it's all about world record. Let's beat this world record. But who are you against? Well, there's nobody even 200 kilos within you. Know, you're way ahead.
Yeah, because you've only got one focus then, haven't you?
Yeah,
you can literally
do
the comp
and
break the record knowing that you're going to win anyway.
Yeah, if I'd have missed the squat back then, or missed the deadlift, I'd have come from first to last.
Yeah.
There were all them 12 men, out of them 12 men, 10 were squatting 500 kilos. I had an edge on the deadlift. Yeah, I was the biggest deadlifter. But Steve Rockins could pull 400.
Yeah.
And you had, but a lot of them guys, Gary Frank, were benching 330 to 350. Only benching back then 270, 280, 290. So they had a big lead on me on subtotal, but I could look at them and see what do I need to pick them off. And normally I could open at 380, 390, 400, 410 and beat them all in one pull.
Yeah.
Because none of them were capable of pulling that weight. So it's always better to have a big deadlift at the end if you're going to win big meets. But yeah, it has changed a lot because now it's every man's a world record holder. Every man's a champion. Seems like today, you know.
Yeah. So if we go down that road, obviously now powerlifting seems like it's kind of hard for me to kind of solidly comment on saying well, it was different back then, but you'll be
Yeah.
able to say. Powerlifting now seems like it's more fragmented with
Yeah.
more federations, and it also seems like you say, there's more of a focus on world records rather than competition.
Yeah.
I know it's cliched, but was it better back in the day?
As overall, it was equipped. It went equipped. It stayed equipped. The big shows were all equipped at the Arnold Classic. That was the show to go to. Behind that, the World Championships. But that's the only route you could go, or you went IPF.
Yep.
There were no other ways to go, so that was it. Now, the raw lifters now, at the Pro Raw Big Dogs, they're the equivalent of what we was at the Arnold back
Yep.
then. That's their big show. Every raw lifter should be aiming for that level.
Yep.
But then shows in between this, now you can go you can go to this world, that federation, that
Yeah.
world, that fed.
There's a big drop off, isn't
It's
there?
massive, and it is. You can be world champion now after training for a year.
Yes.
We've not even a big total, to be honest, not even a total that matched way back then.
Yeah.
Some of these lifters. Yeah, it's a shame. I don't know. It's but they're never going to come together again, are they? It's never going to all come as one.
No, it'd never
not
be.
gonna happen.
I think the only version of it coming as one, as you've just said, is Pro Raw. That Pro Raw
Yeah.
as a federation
Yeah.
is really the only way. Obviously, the IPF have got it sorted in that. That's really the only one. I know they've got the BDFPA and WDFPA or whatever it's called. I know they've got that, but it's the IPF, isn't it? That's the only one.
Of course it is, yeah. It's
But yeah, I think the more Pro Raw is established and the longer it is, that'll be more the modern version of the WPO.
I think it is. That's the way it's going, and I like that. Me and Tom Martin had a chat about this at No Dumbbells competition back in July, I think it was, and he asked me if I were competing at my strongest today, where would I be competing? And I'd be competing at Pro Raw and Big Dogs, because I wanted to beat the best lifters at that time, and my only best lifters I could compete against were quick lifters at the Arnold Classic. There were no other competitions to do. There were no raw lifting back then. But now, raw lifters have got a big stage there. Graham Hicks has just gone over. Sam Bollins is doing well. He's moving over.
Yeah.
There's a couple of other guys. Marcus K? I think Marcus K. The night keeler.
K, for his age, phenomenal, isn't he?
They're going over there and they're getting noticed because the lifters today need to be striving for them shows to be the best. I mean, they can hover around these little smaller shows, but I suppose, but not everybody's capable of going to that level.
No.
So there's
And a
got
lot
to
of
be
the time-
places for people to go as well.
A lot of the time, like, if you know you're going to go over there to get 15th or whatever, it's like it's a lot of money to spend
Of course it is.
on going over and knowing that you're going to get absolutely trounced. But like you say, I think if you're serious about it and if you are good, definitely go. I mean, I've mentioned this before, but my aim is 2021 there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's.
You've got to have a goal, and it's the biggest stage you're going to be on. And to me, if you want to be the best you can be, and forget about the best in the world, the best you can be, you can only control what you can control. You can't control anybody else. That's the way I always saw it. I did my best, absolute best, and I think I got every kilo out of what I could do with my squat, my bench, and my deadlift. There were not much more left I could do, and I was happy. If I'd come third place after doing that, I always believe that I'd done my best, absolute best. If I come third, so be it. But as it happened, I actually won.
Yes.
My best were good enough to win.
Yep.
But if anybody else go into Pro Raw and they get top 5, say, but they've done all PBs, it's a massive achievement. Not everybody can be a winner. It's so competitive today. Not everybody can be that number one man. And the number one men won't stay there for long. Andrei Malichev, he was there for a couple of years. Now he's not there no more. Now his world record just been broken by, I can't remember his name. But that's been broken. And there's Graham Hicks now is in the running.
Bell.
Yeah, Daniel Bell.
Yep.
There's so many people capable of it out there now.
And kind of like Eric Lillibridge as well. I'm watching videos of him.
Yeah.
And it's weird to see that I've only been in the sport 5.5 years, and I'm already starting to see the people who were great at the start. They've dropped off, and now it's someone else.
Yeah, it is. It's very.
It's like getting into bodybuilding and seeing Ronnie Coleman, and then a few years later, Ronnie's retired, and now
it's moved on. Yeah.
You know, it's weird. It's
but
a
a lot of
feeling.
lifters today, I don't know what they're doing, if I'm honest, because back when we were lifting, I competed at a top level for a long time.
So 1992.
1990, my last competition, well, I benched at body power and benched 350 kilos for a British record when I was 44.
What year was that?
44, what is it? What did I start in 92? What year are we on now? 2014.
Right, so 14 years really of competition, and obviously if you're watching via the lights have just gone out. Oh, they've come back on again. They were automatic. I thought, you know what? I thought we'd gone over our studio time then. Still got 45 minutes. We're pretty good. Let me just check that again. Yeah, we're good. We've still got 45 minutes.
Yes, so 2014, when I did a 350.5 bench press to take the all-time British record bench press, and then in 2015, I competed at Giants Live, Europe's Strongest Man, World Deadlift, and I pulled 420, and then that's when, just after then, I got kidney failure.
Yes.
So from 1990 to 2015.
15-year career versus, like you say, a lot of the guys, they are not staying around for 15 years.
No.
I mean, Milanichev was around for a while, wasn't he? He
Yeah.
just wasn't. He wasn't Milanichev for.
But I think it is though. The weights now are getting so heavy. The lifters are evolving. It's getting so heavy, and I always got taught. I don't know who told me this, but a lifter's only got so many big lifts in him, and I believe that because I squatted 500. 6-7 times.
Did Donny Thompson say that?
It might have been. I honestly can't remember. I squatted 550 once, and then it went downhill from there.
Right.
Your body starts to break down. Then you don't see anybody who's pulling, benching them huge numbers. They don't stay around for long. It's a toll on your body. I don't care what equipment you wear, what you're doing. It's still a toll, and your body breaks after a while. You've got a short window. You've got to make the most of that window. But now, because they're getting so much stronger and they're chasing bigger lifters, what more they're doing now to get there faster.
Yeah, a lot of the drug side of things.
Yeah,
I've heard some stuff which is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just from a mate of mine, and obviously I'm not naming names, but I actually don't even know who the guy was. But recent World Championships, the guy was just taking shots of... as in not injectable shots, but he was like down in liquid D-bol, like there were shots, like drinking shots. I recently heard of a guy drinking check drops during his workouts, like drinking them like it was a drink. And obviously he went into some type of, he had some health problems from that, but he was doing it for bravado. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they're going to do.
People are very, it's like reckless. It's not even necessarily wanting to win, but it's just like a bit.
There's a lot of lifters like that today. I think out of a bottle, it's going to make them the champion. But you look at the training, it's total crap. Yeah, they're overtraining all the time, missing lifts. They don't eat right. They're not resting. They're partying on a weekend. I mean, I remember I told a lifter, I won't say who it is, but I told him what I used to take back then, and he was shocked how little it was. And you serious? I went, yeah. And that's why I had no health problems for all my career. My health problems come in my 40s, mid 40s, when I stayed big, still had high blood pressure. I was struggling, and I'll be honest with you, I took more drugs in my mid 40s to try to get back what I'd had in my 30s. Yeah, thinking I'm declining, my late 30s starting to decline. And it's hard to take at the beginning. So everything that's worked up to then suddenly is not working anymore because you're getting older. It's not the drugs, it's not anything else. You're getting older. Yeah. And now I'm thinking, right, if I take a bit more, if I start taking these liquid, like you're talking about then, stuff like this I've never ever used, ever, you get a bit stronger. And all I felt was getting iller, sicker, feeling terrible. Just feeling total crap, being sick every day, no appetite, and forcing it in. And then it all come to a head in 2015 with kidneys. So looking back, I should have stopped him about 40 years old and wound it back then. Yeah. Because I'll be honest, what I used to do when I was starting, Brian Batchedo helped me with all this, and it was 500 milligrams of test per week, 4 weeks on, 4 weeks off. That's all it was off season. That were it. So the 4 weeks off, everything's tapering down. When I come off, I'd use creatine and HCG for first 2 weeks, then just a creatine. 4 weeks. I'd maintain that strength, stay healthy, so 4 on, 4 off all year. The only time I actually increased it was 7 weeks from a big competition, for Milano Classic. Then I'd put the testosterone to 2,000 milligrams for first 3 or 4 weeks. Then I'd half that to 1,000. Then when I halved it, I'd put in oxys for the last 30 days. So I'd do 3 a day for 10 days, 2 a day for 10 days, 1 a day for 10 days. The Trenbolone, the Trenace, I'd use 5 weeks out, and between half a mil to a mil 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and that was it. That was the total. And that so Tren and the oxys are getting used once or twice a year for 30 days up to 5 weeks, and that's it. Rest of the time, it's on, off, and I was constantly strong. To me, what's the point of being in all this stuff if you're off-season training, you're not even training heavy? Your body, it'll tell in future, it really will. But if you do, there's ways you can do it healthy, you know. I mean, back then my bloods were great, everything were perfect. It's only when I got older, your body's telling you to slow down, and I didn't listen to it. I kept on going, thinking I could relive what I did in my 30s and my 40s.
Yeah,
and it wasn't going to happen.
I think this is really valuable for people to listen to. People might be thinking that, he's using 2 grams of stuff, in total, roughly, all the way through.
No,
but what they have to realise is that even if you are using 2 grams of test, this is the best powerlifter in the world at the time. Like, this is this is the pinnacle of you did that, and it's still a bit of a risk, but it's a calculated risk. Whereas it's now not the best powerlifter in the world who's doing that type of stuff. It's some kid who reads this on a forum or because his mate says it, and they don't realise how strong stuff like Tren and oxys are. You don't need a lot of it. Like, I can't even I can't even take Tren. It makes me just have this underlying anxiety, and I tried 50 I got it down to 50 milligrams 3 times a week, so 150 a week. It was still doing it, so I thought, you know what, it's making me so anxious that I can't eat. I'm not going to take it anymore. So my body weight increased whilst not taking Tren. So surely, you know what I mean? Like, people don't even think about just how much of a profound effect that a little bit actually has. And I think in your era of competing, I think the attitude to gear was a lot different. In fact, I know it was, because I know a lot of people from back in your day in powerlifting and in bodybuilding, they didn't take much.
Well, it's not something we talked about. You know, when we met with all WPO guys, all 12 guys, we'll have a drink afterwards, have some food, and we talked, sit on a table. Drugs were never mentioned. It was training. How are you training, Andy? What are you doing for your deadlift? What are you doing for this? Nobody mentioned drugs, because we all knew. If you looked at all of us, none of us looked like we were massive amounts. We're just big guys. And the way we lifted, I always got taught, I think Brian used to tell me, powerlifting is a performance sport. It's not like bodybuilding. You stood on the stage, you can feel like total shit on that stage, but look amazing. Powerlifting, you'll feel like shit. You're not going to perform. How can you squat 500 kilo plus if you feel like shit, and you're going in there with fevers? Sorry, you're not going to do it. And people say, but it must be in all this. If I were on all that, how would I do them lifts feeling like I did? And the 2 gram of test, it was for 3 weeks.
And it was the only thing you were taking as well.
That's at the time. And then Tren had come in at 5 week out, and Oxy had come in at 30 days out, and that was it. There were I tried with propionates and stuff and Winstrol, and I never got anything from it. Just felt toxic, too much. Little is best, but work your training out and your diet over a year, 2 years, 3 years. Have a goal. It's not about let's take as much as we can now because I want to win British in 6 months. You got to think more long term than that, you know, and chip away. That's where we did it.
Let's talk about things kind of related to diet and just your mindset, like of being like a complete athlete. I imagine that anyone who wants to be the best at anything, what was your mindset back like then? I mean, you've alluded to this to me in one of the magazine articles that you helped me write, which centered a lot around you, that you were just so focused.
I was, and I honestly don't know where it come from. As a young kid, in my bedroom, looking at bodybuilding books, I want to be that man. I want to be him. I want to walk into a room, people know who I am. And people ask me, who do you want to be like? I don't want to be like anybody. I never did. I wanted to be like me. I wanted to be people and want to be like me, not be like anybody. Kazma and that, I liked them on TV. I didn't want to be like them. I want to be better than them. And I just, that mindset was there all the way through. But I think from the way I trained as well, if you're constantly overtraining and pulling heavy weights in training, it wears you down. You can't have a strong mindset and train like that. because you're missing weights all the time. We never miss weights in training, and things move fast. You imagine pulling a deadlift and moving it quick all the time, and every lift you do for year after year after year, you don't feel anything in training.
Confidence.
Where's your mindset? It comes from confidence.
Yeah.
That's how you grow confidence. Comes with that strong mindset. 'Cause you think now you feel unbeatable. That's how I felt, unbeatable. I knew if I were on my game, nobody could beat me, because I had a massive squat, my bench were catching up, and I had a massive deadlift at the end, and I didn't fear anything, and I would do whatever it took to win. You know, I wouldn't go. My daughter back then was small. She was born in 2006. I wouldn't go to birthday parties. I wouldn't walk to a park to go on swings. I'd go to bed and have a nap. And my wife said to me, "You missed half your daughter's life," and I did, from sleeping. You couldn't even walk around a shopping mall near us because I want to rest and eat. Oh yeah, but it's burning energy. I'm squatting tonight, and I stopped that for years. Didn't do anything with them. Now it's completely different now, but I sacrificed my life, my home life. And then I got divorced a few times, you know. But I didn't care. That's all I wanted to do, win. It's a mindset where people today, you talk to them, and they say, "How much do you want this?" I want it, but I'm not willing to. You know, I want it in one sentence, but I'm not willing to give up this, my family life. Well, you don't want it enough. Well, I can't say enough because everybody's individual.
Yeah.
But you know, if you want it enough, you're gonna have to take what comes with that. You know, it's similar to Dorian Yates. Dorian Yates did it. He isolated himself.
Yeah.
He did exactly the same thing, and I was just like that. I can understand when he talks about it. I was exactly the same. Nothing meant more in this world than that. I would have died trying. That's how bad it was. I didn't care. I never thought I'd get to 40 years old. I thought I'm going to put so much strain on my body, but in a smart way. But it's still strain, lifting them numbers. You know, whatever's going to be is going to be. And if something breaks under a squat, my attitude would just, I'll get it fixed and come back again stronger. I never feared it. But I think that comes from the training. It's also built in as well. I don't think you can get somebody who's a negative sort of person.
Who's self-destructive,
yeah,
do you mean?
And you can't just turn them into that, you know. But you can help them away. A lot of my clients, I do this with them. You know, the confidence grows with the training you put them through. Never failing weights in training, and that all leads to that. Then now they're getting to think, "Oh, I feel amazing now. I just want to lift again."
Yep.
And they're never missing weights. And now they're doing PBs in training because it's that confidence that's growing and growing and growing. And you know, you get under a squat bar, a bench or deadlift. You approach them bars, you've got to have confidence. If you haven't, you're not going to do it. If you're doing it half-heartedly, you just won't do it.
No. So I guess it must be hard to, well, you won't know because you had the mindset, but it's hard to compete. It's hard to beat someone with your mindset where that's all you cared about and you valued that above any other value.
Yeah.
Not many people realistically, like you say, actually have that mindset. No. Like it's very rare because a lot of people will want it, but they'll want to have a bit of health too. They'll want to have a bit of social life. They want to still be able to do this, that, the other. But yeah, that's. I think that's probably quite common in
definitely,
the very best.
Yeah,
and it's probably only like a 1 or 2% type thing that people actually think.
I mean,
like
you know what? I had my bad times as well where things would get to me. And I'd be training for an Arnold. I remember one time we were training for an Arnold Classic, and something had happened with my relationship, and that had broke down. And I remember going to a bar, and I was drinking a week out from the Arnold, and I bumped into Jim Nuttall, which me and Jim didn't know each other. This is before we started training together. And Jim goes, "Aren't you competing at Arnold next week?" I said, "Yeah." And I was pissed off my face on something as well, because something had broke down in my life. I wanted it bad, but this has just overcome everything, and I was a mess for that week. And then when I come out of that, when I actually come round on Monday or Tuesday, I thought, shit, I'm lifting that weekend. I'm flying to America on Wednesday. So I got myself together. I still squatted 500 and pulled 390. I didn't win, I got 4th or 5th.
Yeah.
But
I wasn't laughing there at the fact that things had broken down.
Oh,
I was just laughing at the fact that you'd met Jim Nuttall in the bar.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I know what type of fucking character
Because I know
Jim is.
if I sit here saying I'm all whiter than white, and then Jim listens to this, which he will do, and he says, "Yeah, hang on a minute, Andy. Remember that time at bar? I saw you pissed up with before, sure." So I have had my time. Me and Jim have had some times together as well.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, we did got on really well. We trained together hard, but when we train hard.
Yeah, I still need to podcast with him.
Definitely, that'd be a good one.
Yeah,
but yeah, mindset. See, a lot of people want the glory from the winning the competition, winning big dogs, winning Pro Raw, winning the Arnold. From that, they don't see what goes on behind the scenes. The hard work is the training, week in, week out. sacrificing everything in your life for that one moment. A lot of lifters I know want that moment, but don't want to put the work in behind it, or they don't know how to put the work in.
Speaking of putting the work in, then what was a typical day like? If you could illustrate this to people.
What about training like that?
Yeah, just typical day.
But back then I was getting sponsored, you see, as well, so I didn't really have to work. I worked up until 2006. No, I did actually. I worked up until 2005, 6, driving a wagon. So I was driving a wagon for them years.
Yeah.
So I'd get up at 7, eat my food, pack all my food for the day. And food back then, I wasn't making chicken and rice. It was sandwiches. I love cheese sandwiches, Scotch eggs, loads of Coca-Cola. Calories, 155 kilos. Lots of calories, whatever I could get in. Then I'd finish work about 4. They let me finish work at 4, go to gym for half 4, get warmed up, and then we'd squat, bench or deadlift or whatever we were doing at the time for 2 or 3 hours. A team of 8 lifters, 8 to 10 lifters, and that happened Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And that's all it was. It would work, eating as much as I could all day, training them 2 or 3 hours, going home, planning more training, what things weren't working right, what I had to adjust, and constantly analysing it all the time, changing things. My days off were working, home to bed, eating, not leaving the house. It was just training, gym, bed. That's all it was. There was no life, if I'm honest. There was no life. There were no holiday. There were no, there were nothing. It was just training. Now you see them. They do YouTube videos, follow me around for a day, what they eat, all fancy meals. Is that real life? Honestly, is that real life? Because I know my life back then when I was winning championships wasn't like that. It was sleeping 10 hours a night, sleeping 2 hours in the afternoon, eating as much food as I can, even passing fish shop and having an extra meal of fish and chips. Eating chocolate. I'd have full meals. I mean, it's not great diet advice. Eating full meals, having a full Viennetta.
Yeah.
Chocolates.
It's very similar to what Ed Hall did, though, as well,
exactly.
isn't it?
Eddie Hall did first
stories
shots.
of
Yeah,
him,
of course it is.
Yeah.
And it comes to, like Eddie used to say, he's putting his life at risk to do this. But if you want to be in a strength sport, mass moves mass and all, all that.
Yeah.
And I was 155 at my strongest, 152 to 155. And I had to get them calories in. I mean, I couldn't eat chicken and rice all day, even red meat. I wasn't a lover of meat. I was not a lover of steak. I had it once every probably 3 days. Now they're eating it every meal, mince and steaks. But meat, we were like sandwiches, takeaway, protein shakes mixed with eggs, oats in it, oils, stuff like that. And eat whatever you can. A lot of good stuff, but a lot of junk on top. Similar to what Eddie did. Like I was saying, but it gets the results. It's good for a short time.
Yeah.
From your 20s into your, mid-30s. When you start getting to your late 30s, you've got to start winding that stuff back in. You're risking. Blood pressure's going up. Your body's under strain now for all them years previous. And that's what I found. I kept it going too long. That's what happened to me. But Eddie got out at a good age. He won it at 28. I think he won World's Strongest Man.
Yeah.
And now he's living a good life.
He is. He's a lot leaner
doing well, yeah, healthier.
Yeah. He's not small by any
means.
He's
not small, no, he's not small.
I don't think he'll ever be a small man.
But he's not
guy.
putting his body under that stress he was before.
He looks fresher too.
Yeah,
he looks way fresher.
Exactly. So, it's a risk. If you want this and you want to give it everything, it comes with a risk. But doesn't any top sport, any top elite athlete comes with a risk?
I mean,
at some
a lot
point?
of it, like you say, a lot of it, you look from the outside and just because these other guys in the other sports are smaller, you think that there's no risk. But behind the scenes,
of course he is.
There's strain on whichever way it is, there's some type of strain there.
Yeah, and I always got told, when you get older and you're going to be in a wheelchair, your joints are going to be screwed. And I said, you know what, I'll deal with that when it comes to it. It's not something I'm thinking about now. Squatting 500 kilos, pulling 1,000 pounds, that doesn't bother me. What happens later doesn't bother me now.
Very similar to what Big Ronnie Coleman said.
Yeah.
He just doesn't regret a thing.
And I can relate to Ronnie. I really can relate to him because I would say, look at the same. If he'd go back and do it all again, like I would, I'd go back and do it all again. And kidney failure was just a blip. I mean, it happened. Luckily, it happened to me at a time when I needed it to happen because I was continuing to push, and I was struggling to breathe properly. I couldn't have a conversation without gasping for air. And a few of my mates said, Andy, you're putting bets on how long you're going to last because you think you'll be dead this time next year. And they were serious because you're not well. And I was too big. And when that happened in 2015, it made me realise, lose all that weight and come right down. And it was the best thing that ever happened, because it made me think about things. And for first year on dialysis, I thought, I'm going to get back to where I was. I'll get a kidney soon. Second year on dialysis, I thought, maybe I won't get back there, but I can still get to a good level. Third year on dialysis, I'm thinking, fuck this. I don't think I want this anymore. And fourth year, I'm getting to 50, nearly 50 now. I'm thinking, you know what? It's not worth it. I still want to train hard. Doctor said you can train hard. And when I got the kidney, I'm even more cautious now, because I don't want to go back to that. I've been on that machine again. And I see lifters today, I'm thinking, I say to a few lifters, don't end up like I did. I mean, it started off great, mid-30s, amazing, one of the strongest men in the world, and it all come crashing down in my mid-40s. If I'd just been a bit more smarter, going into my 40s, I could have prevented it. But I kept the same mindset that I've always had. I didn't change it. Well, now it's completely changed now, you see. It's completely changed the other way.
And if you gave us a bit of a... Hold on, I'm just going to check the time again. Perfect. If you were to give us a little bit of a rundown of what actually happened kidney-wise.
Yeah. Well, how it happened, I was training for Giants Live 2015. I felt unwell all the way through. Just didn't feel like myself. The weights wasn't moving like they should have been moving, and I felt really tired after. I remember doing that in the summer of 2015 and feeling a bit unwell, going to the doctors, getting bloods and that, and then I was waiting to see a consultant at kidney at St James's. So in the meantime, I kept on training, and only the week before this happened, I squatted 350 for 5 reps. So I was still strong. I felt amazing. I thought, it's coming back. I'm feeling strong again. Then the week after, just before the kidney appointment, I couldn't squat 200. You imagine going from 350 a week after putting 200 on and feeling like I couldn't barely do 1 rep with it.
That'd be quite scary.
It like somebody put brakes on. And I went home to my wife and I said to her, something's wrong. I said, what do you mean? I said, I've gone from 350 1 week to barely doing 200, like it felt like 500. I said, something's not right. It's like somebody switched a switch. So I went to kidney ward, sat there in reception, I'm waiting 5 hours, 6 hours, looking around, everybody's going. I'm the last person left. Doctor comes out, puts his arm on my shoulder, and goes, we're getting you a bed. I looked at him, a bed for what? Your kidneys have failed. Your kidneys are functioning at 3%. I looked at him, I thought, you serious? I said, you serious? So I told my wife, I've got kidney failure. I said, what do you mean? You didn't understand. We don't know what it meant. I didn't know what it meant. So we had to go put you on dialysis. So you've got to keep you in, we're getting you a bed. Took to this room. Day after, a doctor come to me, sat outside of me bed, Dr. Mooney, and he goes, we're going to put you on dialysis, we're going to put a line in your neck, put a line in here, get you on dialysis, and you need to have a kidney transplant. And my world just ended. Are you serious? I didn't know what to think. Then when I first got this line in, put right through here, sticking out of here, my daughter walked in. She looked at it and just walked out again. I mean, she was only young then, you know what I mean, a lot younger then. It was like this monster with his thing in his neck and this big tube coming out of my chest. So they put me on dialysis and I'm sat there and they're linking me up to this machine and all my blood's coming out and cleaning. I didn't know what was going on. So for the first few months it was a bit of a big shock. And then I settled down and I realised, well, what had happened, come to terms with it, and then my diet had to change. Diet changed completely, because now what's healthy for you is not healthy for your kidneys. No potassiums, your phosphates, your meats, dairy, nuts, seeds, vegetables, fruits, now all of a sudden are toxic. Your healthy foods are toxic now, so you've got to be very carefully. So it was Sarah Whitney, who's with Simon Flint, who's going through the same thing. He's on dialysis. Right. He got a transplant before me, and he was on dialysis a lot longer than me. And she helped me, tell me the foods I could eat. And it's funny, but you can eat more junky foods.
Okay.
If you eat the basic bodybuilder type food with a high meat, rice, it's not good for your kidneys and vegetables, because vegetables and tomatoes and all that have all got potassium.
Right.
So it's not good for your kidney when you're on dialysis.
So you need a low potassium.
But like low potassium diet, so no dairy, no nuts and seeds, limited protein. But also you're on a water restriction, because when your kidneys don't work, you don't go to the toilet to pee as much. So if you're making rice that absorbs water, you can limit it to a litre of water a day, a fluid, and that includes soup, ice cream. It's all fluid.
Were you extremely thirsty at this point?
I wasn't bad at the beginning. I was peeing normally for some reason. That come later on for me. But you're not thirsty because you're not peeing.
Right.
That's the thing I thought, well, how can you drink a litre of water and not be thirsty all day? Because when I trained, I didn't sweat. Yeah. I didn't sweat, I didn't pee, so you're not losing fluid. So that litre's fine for you. you can manage, and you're not waking up through the night with dry mouth. And if you do, you just have a sip or suck on an ice cube. They tell you.
Right.
So it's a completely different world. But all I did was, somebody said to me in the gym, one of the guys in the gym said to me, take that mindset of a 1,000-pound deadlift and put it to your kidney disease. That's what I did. Changed my diet, kept on training, adjusted everything. And it was only the last year, I competed in Tattoo and Strong in the March, and I pulled 330. I was struggling. And a few months after that, I could barely pull 220 off the boards. It just felt like, I turned around to a woman I met, Simon, who trains with us. I said, I'm done. I said, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to have to train light now. Just train really more for fitness.
Yeah.
And this was after 4 years, 3.5, 4 years. And then soon after that, I got a kidney transplant. I got a call. I got the kidney. So it all turned out good. And now it's working great. Everything's fine.
And so, since then, we were just talking about this before the podcast started. You've had ups and downs, but you just as much as anyone else would have, really.
Yeah.
You were saying in the same situation.
Yeah, transplant in April the 10th this year. Since then, I've had what I found out at the beginning. You put a catheter in when you first have the operation. 5 to 7 days that comes out. Then you can go to the toilet by yourself. Your kidney's working now. It's producing urine, and you go to the toilet and everything. So we're filling the catheter bag up, no problem. Took it out at 7 days. Did my bloods every day. Within 2 days, my kidney function had dropped by half. So they couldn't understand why. So they put the catheter back in again. Function went back up again in 2 days. So now they're scanning my kidneys, and what they're finding out is my bladder wall, I've got a high bladder neck. So when I'm going to the toilet, it's not going out, it's not coming out, it's going back in and sitting around the kidney. Because the kidney now is right near the bladder at the front.
Right.
It's just above. So it's not like it's in the back, it's quite a fair bit away from your bladder.
Okay.
And also, your normal kidneys, you've got a valve. So if you go to the toilet and you don't empty your bladder, that urine can't go to your kidney because there's a valve stopping it from going back. Now, because mine's so close, there's no valve.
Yeah.
So any urine I've got back in my bladder surrounds the kidney and kills it. That's what was going on with me. So with a catheter, we're draining it all out. So I had to put a catheter in me for 3 months while I organised the operation to get the bladder fixed.
And that was permanent.
That's permanent. A catheter, permanent catheter. I change the bag every night. Change the leg bag every so often. I have to clean it every day myself. Right. And it wasn't really nice. I couldn't train. I couldn't really do much. But always imagine you've got a bag in your leg. It gets full. Yeah. Half a litre. It falls down. It tugs on you. And it's not a nice feeling. It's constantly. It's like one of them little pains you get. It's not a bad pain, but it's a constant niggling pain all the time. So we got the operation in July. All went well. Started peeing, emptying my bladder again, which were great. But now this caused more problems with infections because all the stuff that scraped away, and I had five or six infections with a temperature over 39, which put me in hospital for 5 to 7 days every time. And now they've actually put me on because they've been happening. I got an infection 2 weeks ago, but they caught it early with bloods. They could see it was starting, give me antibiotics, and it cleared it up. Now they've put me on antibiotics every month, rotating around every month for 3 months, and I repeat for 6 months. And hoping now that it's going to cure it. If this doesn't cure it, what they're saying is they're going to play around with me kidney transplant medication, my immune system, because my immune system's so suppressed. So the kidney don't reject, it's almost too suppressed. Yeah. So every little bug I get, let's say now I've got a bit of a cold, I've got to sanitize my hands all the time, always wash my hands, always wash the food. Can't eat really out much in restaurants because you don't know what you're going to be eating. Yeah. You've got to be very careful with things like that. You know, food poisoning, something like about a food poisoning now could kill my kidney. Stuff like that. And you travelling abroad, I can't travel abroad for a year or two. I can't be in the sun. This is something people won't know. I'm 50% more chance to get skin cancer now. Because of the anti-rejection drugs, your immune system's so low, you can't fight off things like that. So any sort of sun, I've got to wear factor 50. So it's a bit of it's an ordeal. It's a lot to it.
Complex process.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, there's a lot to it. Getting bloods every 2 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks now. Things are looking good. Kidney function's about 65%. Doctors are really happy. Just started deadlifting again this week, 60 kilos, with no pain for the first time. With no pain. It's just a slow process. You know, I've actually also brought my weight right down to 108, 109 kilos. Yep. There's no point in me being big if I can't train hard. So if I put weight on that, it's just going to be fat. My diet's super clean, 5 meals a day. Everything's measured. I'm going to get down to 100 kilos, even lighter. Strip off all this fat I've had for years, being a super heavyweight, and then when the time comes, I can start pushing training again. I want to build up to a solid 110 and compete in 110s and pull whatever I can in 110s and beat whoever's out there. I'll do my best.
Well, yeah. I mean,
for my age,
you need to, you need to keep going in some capacity.
Oh, I'll always.
Obviously, you have to think about your health way more
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
But that definitely doesn't mean that you should stop.
Oh no, I'll always train. I mean, my mum and dad always say, "Well, when are you going to stop lifting?" And they seem to think to me, "Oh, you don't have to lift heavy anymore. You've done all that heavy stuff." And I try to say to them, "No, I'm still lifting heavy. I'm not pulling 1,000 pound heavy because I'm not that man. But I believe I can pull 350 at 110 kilos with a transplant." And doctors have said to me, they've come to my room many a times with these infections and said, "Andy, how you doing?" I said, "I'm all right. Are you still training?" I went, "Yeah." And the next time it happened, "He's still training?" "Yeah." Third time, I'm thinking, you know what? Is it worth it? I'm getting infections all the time. I'm thinking about not competing anymore. And Dr. Mooney, who first saw me in dialysis way back, 4 years previous, says, "Why are you going to stop competing?" And this is a top kidney consultant. "Why? There's no reason you have to stop competing. We give you a kidney so you can have a normal life. You can do everything you did before. All I'm saying to you is, don't get heavy. Watch your blood pressure. They're the keys."
Yeah, you're doing it within certain constraints now, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
By the lighter I get, the more my kidney likes it.
Yeah.
Because whether you're 150 kilos of muscle, 150 kilos of fat, your kidney's got to work the same. All that protein going in. Yeah, protein and healthy kidneys, it's not going to kill it. If you've got a deficiency in your kidney and you start putting loads of protein on it, it's going to make it work a little bit harder.
Right.
You start eating high salty food, processed food, it's going to make it work a little bit harder. Now, I've got an artificial kidney. It's not mine. So any sort of salt, yeah, now and again, it's okay. Loads and loads of protein is just going to put more stress on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't drink alcohol anymore. Don't party. No drugs. Everything's being kept clean. And just live a healthy life, but train as hard as I can within my limits, and still compete. I want to do my deadlift challenge next year, October.
Let's talk about the deadlift challenge.
Yep.
That started back in 2017?
17, 18, 19. Yep, you're right.
And you put that on to raise funds for the
yeah, it started off.
UK.
Yeah, Alistair, my partner in all this, he come to see me at dialysis one year, and he said, "Why don't we put a show on, a deadlift show?" I never thought about it. He says, "Well, Kidney Research UK have helped me out. The kidney doctors are amazing. They really have been good all the way through. Whenever you call them, you come down straight away to sort you out, talk to you." So let's put something back. So we did it that first year for that, Kidney Research. Second year we did it again for that. Then what I found then after the second year of doing it with them, they didn't call us up. They didn't message us to say anything, say thank you. You know, we don't doing it for thanks, but some sort of feedback.
Yeah,
and it was almost like we just forgotten.
Yeah.
So third year we decided, a friend of my mum's, Pam, runs Laura Crane Trust, kids with cancer, up to 18 years old, and we did it with them this year, the third year, and they come down themselves. They were there, and it was really, really good. A good cause, you know. Met a girl who got a leg amputated from a knee. I think she was 15. She found out she had a knee pain. She did something. She had knee pain. And after years of battling with it, she actually had her leg taken off.
Shit.
And she's still only a young girl now.
Poor girl.
Yeah. So that's how it all started, yeah. And we're doing that. And we're going to be doing it again. We've got the date set for 2020. It'll be the 7th of November at Ultraflex, Rotherham again. Same venue. I'm going to start planning that and releasing things for that after Christmas. New Year.
I can vouch for it, definitely. I've done the comp each year, haven't I?
Yeah.
I've done the comp all 3 years, and I don't think I need to really help you make the thing sell out, because it will sell out.
It always does, yeah.
But yeah, if you're thinking about it, get your entry in early when it comes out, because it will go quickly.
It goes fast. It does go fast. Yeah, it's
it's
a good cause, and it's just one of them shows. Everybody seems to have a good day.
Yeah.
The energy is unbelievable in that room.
Yeah, that gym as well. That gym's so good. I remember it even when it was Iron Athlete. It was really, really good gym. Nice venue to hold stuff. And like you say, amazing cause. Kids with cancer, like, you couldn't get a better cause to give to. You know
I know. Well, I suffered with cancer during dialysis as well. I mean, and I'm not a kid, young, but it's one of the most scariest things I've ever gone through, even worse than dialysis, to be honest. Halfway through dialysis, I was having a transplant, did a routine scan, found a cancer in my kidney, my right kidney, had to take it out, took it out, stitch come undone, nearly bled to death, four blood transfusions, in hospitals 3 weeks, just up to Christmas. Got let out about 3 days before Christmas, could barely walk, went down to 100 kilos. A lot of people don't know that. I lost everything. I nearly died, had 4 operations in about 4 days.
Oh my God.
Lost so much blood. My hemoglobin would fill the I could barely stand out of my bed. I couldn't get out of my bed and walk. I couldn't stand up. So that was a close call. So after that, and just some of them saying to you, you've got cancer, the word scared me to death. I mean, kidney failure, I could deal with it.
Right, okay.
But cancer's like different level.
It's
You don't know. You're looking
scary,
at your family thinking, am I going to see them next year? And you don't know how bad it is. And they're saying to me, if it spread to your lungs and it spread to this, it's going to be a little bit harder. And you just don't know until I tell you. So a kid, imagine being a kid, a young age, not even started your life and getting it. Can't imagine it, to be honest with you.
I can imagine just being the parents as well, just how sad and worried that would make you feel.
It's awful. So yeah, we're trying to give a little bit back to them.
Yeah.
You know, this year, next year, last year.
So
next year.
make sure you get yourself down, donate, do whatever, do something to help the Andy Bolton Deadlift Challenge out. 27th of November, did we say?
7th of November.
7th of November.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of comps to do this year, or a few, or I'll be a month out from the WRPF, but I would like to do it again.
Yep.
I would like to do it.
Well, defending champ, you've got to come back. No man's ever won it twice.
I was thinking that just before I set off, actually.
I won it the first year, Graham Hicks second year, you were the third year, so we're going to see now. It's 4th year.
It's nice company to be in, to be fair, that when you say it like that. Yeah. I'll make no promises, but believe me, I want to.
Yeah.
But back to you, mates. Thank you so much for coming on. I think people are really going to enjoy this episode. We've covered a lot of different stuff, really. Thanks so much, and good luck in your continued quest for better health, mate.
Yeah, I'll be back deadlifting next year. Everybody, you'll see me next year. All them 110 lifters out there, but be careful, because I'm a natural deadlifter.
Watch out. Right, thank you.
Thank you very much.